Hey everybody, Bonehead from the Bonehead podcast and welcome to Print to Pitch. This is our show where we have a look at everything 3D printed for Blood Bowl. Now last month we got very excited when Punga dropped the first part of their Cathay team. So Cathay is the ancient Chinese style army that they had for Warhammer Fantasy. They've recently shown them off for Warhammer the Old World, and Punga lined their release up absolutely bang on to key into the hype. So this month it's part 2, so naturally we've printed it off and it's time to take a look. Okay, so the way Punga and a lot of these STL teams do stuff is they'll drop their team in part 1 and then part 2, and then later on they'll drop a part 3 with like alternate, I was going to say heroes, wow, star players and support staff and stuff like that. So this is month 2 and this is the Dragon's Fists. So the team is meant to be used, we figure, given the positionals that we had in the first one, and this time here it can be used for a human team and it can be used for an Imperial Nobility team, and because of that, because of what you get, you can kind of use it for a couple of different other teams as well. So in this release you get this big lad in the middle, the Titan. So I think this is absolutely totally inspired by the Games Workshop Cathay release, the old world one where they had the big statue guys, and not only have they dropped this in one scale, they've dropped it in one scale and they've also dropped it in an even larger scale. Good news bears, both of them can fit on a 40mm base, which is pretty wicked. And oh god, why have I not just doubled this in scale? Because that's going to look absolutely wicked. All right, that's happening. That's going to happen. Right, so this is, you've got one Titan, you got 2 blockers, which we'll have a look at in a second. You get 2 more catchers, you get 3 linemen, and 2 halflings. So this is one of the blockers. Ooh, super zoom, seems a little extreme. And we saw 2 of them last month. So that gives you 4 blockers, which is perfect for an Imperial Nobility team. That's going to give you 4 of those blockers. They got 2 blitzers last month as well. So for a Nobility team, the only thing you're missing are throwers, and they dropped 2 of those last month as well. But this month you get the 3rd blocker, or bodyguard really, as it kind of needs to be. You get the 4th bodyguard blocker, which I'm just going to do this and see if I can't zoom in or out. Can I do anything? Can I do anything useful? Yeah, there we go. That's what we want. Now, the style. Oh, these are some of the best sculpts I have seen in a long time. They have got plenty of character, plenty of detail, but not so much detail that it feels like a Games Workshop kit. If you're playing this, you'll know, oh, you've seen like the Chaos Warriors from Warhammer or the Space Marines, and it's just like there's so much filigree and detail. This, even though he's got the big dragon piece, right? I'm just thinking a metallic dry brush, red contrast paint over the whole thing, giving that kind of, I know it's a different culture, but if you've seen The Last Samurai, like the kind of red leather armor, this feels like that kind of style. And I think a nice little red, and then obviously a nice bit of agrax, and then a bit of gold. I think these guys are going to look great. Now the whole team's here. I think I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to have to add this to my paint pile. I've already printed them. Right. So here's one of the catchers. Now I might actually need to go back and check to see if there was 2 catchers last one. I don't think there was 2 catchers, so I think this is just 2 catcher territory. Now, most teams aren't often going to get to 4 catchers. Even if you want to use this as like a Nobility team, an Elven Union team, or a human team, I just don't think you're likely to. It's not going to be a massive problem to the point where actually mirroring it is going to get you 3 and 4 catchers, which I think is going to do the business. Then you've got another lineman here, another lineman here, another lineman here, and then you've got some fun little dudes. So I mean, they're halflings. Now, one thing you can say about Punga is they do their halflings brilliantly. Their halfling corn team is like one of the unmatched pieces of brilliance ever. They are just some of the most fun paints. Some of the most fun miniatures to paint. Use your words. Sorry, it's like 23 degrees outside, so obviously I'm struggling. And Yeah, okay. I'm not going to stray into this too much because I don't know if I want to touch on it, but they've played into some Eastern European tropes a little bit, and the Cathay vibe is really interesting, and it can be potentially a bit of a problem. I don't think it is though, the way they've done this, and your mileage may vary. But what I can say is that the warriors, the blockers, the blitzers from part 1, the titans, the giant, the ogre, they are just exquisite. So let's have a quick look at the STLs. Okay, so the good news is these STLs come fully supported and they print perfectly. Now, I think most of these, I don't know. What I tend to do when it comes to printing a team is I'll print a pre-supported one on one side of the plate and I'll print my supported one on the other side, just in case the pre-supports are a bit miserable. I had no problems with these ones, so yeah, I very rarely do. Right, let's show off the STLs. So I very rarely do with the Punga pre-supports. Sometimes they're a bit strong when it comes to like the thickness and the girthy supports that they use. But I mean, they are going to give you a perfect print every time. You might just spend a little bit extra time taking off the supports, but I think that's better than a failed print because you're good to go. I mean, it doesn't take much because of the way they've constructed the detail on these models. They're quite chunky. There's not a lot of danger, so there's no reason you can't pre-support them yourself. But hey, they come pre-supported, so you are good to go. So first thing to talk about is you've got two different Titans. You've got Dragon Titan, which absolutely looks like a Power Rangers villain. Like I can just see him stomping around and crushing cities. This is such a good model. And you've also got plus 10%. So the idea was they just wanted to make you a really big guy. And if we have a look at the scaling of him, he is 68 millimeters tall, so 7 centimeters tall. We'll have a look at the print in a second. It's quite big, but it's not a problem on the Blood Bowl pitch, which I think is very cool. So let's grab all these models and let's stand them up, and then whoa. Let's have a look at the details. So we'll have a look at the prints in a second, but again, everything we kind of talked about last time and what we've already looked at with the renders, you can see here in detail on the STLs. They've even got this kind of clay or kind of beaten metallic texture to them, which I think, does that translate really nicely to the print? Oh, it does, which is brilliant because that's just going to add extra detail for a bit of dry brush, for a bit of contrast. I absolutely love the grill faces here, because you know you can add the metallic bit and you can get a nice bit of glow behind it without any with minimal effort. So the cool thing about these is they will paint up without too much effort at all, which is, as you will know, my favorite amount of effort. Let's grab these blockers because I think the blockers are wicked. Like these guys, this Punga, if you're listening, love your models. Let's go fantasy battle, let's go fantasy army. You've got the sculpts, you've got them, come on. I want Punga STL Cathay army for the old world. Let's do it, because I will print that muchly. Anyway, look at the face detail on these are brilliant. The structures there is absolutely gorgeous. You've got the cool dragon bit on the belly. Did the other ones have that as well? Yes, they did. Oh, these are gorgeous. Yeah, this is really cool. They have nailed the theme. You've got the kind of boots, which I listened to a thing about Cathay the other day, which is kind of for horse riding. They've got like the upturned toes, which I thought was quite interesting. Could have got that wrong, but yeah. You've got some more linemen here, and you've got two catchers, sorry. So we're going to ignore the linemen because we saw some linemen last time, and these are just more good linemen. So we'll actually have a look at the two catchers. And the great thing about these catchers is that they have got the catching pose. They are running, they've got the hand outstretched. The only thing to worry about is this lady here, this chapette, that there is her point of contact, which is a little bit risky. So you've got that teeny tiny bit there connecting to the base. I've super glued. All right, do you know what? Probably not a problem. I'm on board with that. So got the two catchers, and what I said about them potentially having catchers in the last month, it's not true. Last month was 2 blitzers, 2 blockers. So total, we've got 2 blitzers, 4 blockers now, 2 throwers from last month, and 2 catchers. But this magical button here can provide you a third and a 4th catcher. And let's face it, we're Blood Bowl players. We are not... it's not like we're not used to having mirrored poses or just 4 human blitzers all in the same hand pose. So yeah, interesting one. Right, so we've got the STLs, we've seen that they're pre-supported, you've got the 2 halflings, which we'll have a look at and the prints in a second. The thing I want to test, so let's ignore Mr. 100%. We've got this 110%. He will fit in a 40mm box. It says 46 by 41. So that's about right. That's probably as wide as you can go on the Blood Bowl pitch without it causing a problem. What I want to do very briefly for no purpose is just times him by 200 just to see. So this is the 110% at 200. So he's 210%. That is a chonky boy. And let's check the cylinder. Let's check the footprint because this is going to matter. 80 by 90. Can he fit on a smaller base? This is the wicked thing, because month 1 came with the ogre. Oh, quality model. Now month 2 has come with your giant, which is fantastic. And if you've got a Saturn 2 like me, you can just kind of print him straight away. But for those of you who, I don't know, if you print a lot or don't print a lot, if you want to do your own supports and you're using Chitu box like me, you can be super lazy with these models because they've built them in a way that makes them quite girthy. You drop them back 45 degrees, you raise them up 3mm, and then you can auto chuck on some light supports like this, boop, and then you just kind of flick around, check to see if there's any overhangs that are going to cause too much of a problem. I don't think that's a problem. That bit's in the wind. You add a little support there, and you're kind of supported, ready to go. If you want to cover that, you can. And I think that's basically all I did for these models, was a very quick, lazy auto support. And mine came out perfect. The Punga Priest supports came out perfect. Yes, printing things is fun. Let's have a look. Okay, so as I mentioned, I printed these on the Saturn 2 with standard settings, I think, but 0.04 layer line with Elegoo 2 standard resin. It's all I use for Blood Bowl, and it works, I think, really, really, really well. In fact, I know it works really, really well. Right, we are absolutely positively going to start with our big boys, because these are wicked. So we've got 110% on the right, come on Ben, move your face, and 100% here on the left. So it's British summertime now apparently, and that means that there's spiders and cobwebs and flowers and things everywhere. So when I went outside, I got attacked and stuff got stuck to this model. Right, here we go. Let's see if we can get him in focus. This is the Titan model, and I'm actually going to have to zoom out. I'm actually going to have to zoom out here for this because of how awesome this model is. And this is only the 100% scale. So we've got 40mm base here. So for your Blood Bowl, you know it's going to fit in a square that's all right. We've got the Black Orc, as we can do our size test, and we've got the Ogre from last month. That one's also on a 40mm base. So it kind of works out really nicely. So as we look at the Titan, like I said, really good detail. Oh, Ben's done a bad job cleaning up the supports. Let's just hide the evidence of that one. And look, you've got a few little support bits there. I'm not sure if this is mine or Punga's. Doesn't really matter because you don't have to build it. So you can take a little clipper, you can take a little sander, you can take a little knife, and you can just clean up a couple of the teeny tiny support nodules that are left if that bothers you. It doesn't really bother me. And because this is kind of like a stone clay giant golem, it's not going to bother me at all if there's a couple of chinks missing from it, like chinks and chunks taken out of it. Yeah, absolutely fine. Wicked at 100%. Oh, 110% is even flipping better. This is just, yeah, this is going on the printer at 200% scale because this is a proper stone giant. Punga, please do a Cathay Army STL. You've got to do it. So 110% scale guy. Let's compare it to the Black Orc as we always do. So I mean, there is absolutely positively no doubt in your mind that this is a big guy, and the fact they get the 2 scales, it really doesn't matter because in your slicer you can scale stuff up or down as much as you like anyway. The benefit is 110% comes pre-supported, so if you want him even bigger you can do. I think if I was running this, I would go for the 110% one, obviously. And you kind of got the choice of big guy. Now, if you're running an OWA team with this, then you've got the choice of Ogre or Tree Man, potentially. But I don't think if you're running humans, if you're running nobility, if you're running any team that has access to a big guy, this needs to be the model that you use. I think the Ogre was so cool, but they've just absolutely slapped him away with this giant clay dude because it's wicked. Oh, we've got some more absolutely gorgeous models. I love these. This is like a really good team. The models are lovely, the theming's brilliant. We'll talk about whether positionals stand out, but actually I think they do, because they're girthy, because you can tell they've got a decent amount of armor to them. You can tell that these are the blockers. And compared to a Black Orc, so this is on a 32mm base, the Black Orc is bigger than the blocker, but the blocker is just obviously a bit more statuesque, shall we say, than the Blitzer. So I'm going to grab the Blitzer from last month because I think it's really important to show. This is the Blitzer, this is the blocker. So from a style point of view, obviously less armor. They've got the kind of waistcoat over the top of the black breastplate, which means they stand out quite nicely. So the two bodyguards that come and go alongside the two bodyguards from last month, it's perfect. Right, let's have a look at the catchers, including Little Miss 1 Foot Wonder. All right, classic catcher pose. I'm probably going to have to zoom in again now, aren't we? Golly. There we go. So classic catcher pose, and you've got 2 points of contact on this one. That's pretty good. Very simple clothing for this, but the benefit of that is that they stand out as being not very well armored, which is what you want for your catcher, because catchers are not very well armored. Very, very good face detail as well. And this one here, even though 1 point of contact on the base, excellent face, great costume design, flying through the air. I'm really impressed with this. I do think this is a little risky, so you are going to have to be a bit careful with your model, but I mean, I just, you know, I'm actually really impressed with that. Even though there's 1 point of contact, they've done a good job making the legs sort of sturdy enough that it's not all that risky. Right, size comparison, strength 4 Black Orc obviously towers over the strength 2/3 catcher, depending on what team you're using them as, but they are still bigger than a goblin, so I think that fits quite nicely too. Now we'll have a quick look at the linemen. These are just kind of fit in really nicely with the linemen from last time. They are the other guys, which is not just an excellent film, it's an appropriate description for these linemen. So you've got some of the ones with like the reed hats, and you've got the kind of kung fu pose. I mean, I'm apart from a bit of Krav Maga and karate, I'm not that familiar with kung fu or military or martial arts stuff. But this is some, I'm going to say it again, it's a bit of a cliche when it comes to printed pictures, but all of these are great models. All of these are really, like, each of them has got their own character. You could pick up any one of these and go, that looks like fun to paint. All right, here we go. We got the little halfling guys now. With this one's got a little reed hat and big old bushy eyebrows. I dropped this. So at the moment, the garden is full with floating debris of pollen and little fluffy things that are kind of like very scary to a man with allergies as myself. So I was accosted very much like that one very, very exciting scene in the Happening movie. Yeah, very scary. So I dropped him. And so therefore he didn't get primed. I mean, halfling size works, halfling detail really works, and he's got his little hat on there as well. He's got a little bell on the side, a little pouch. Punga just always do really good detail. So is he bigger than a Black Orc? No, which works nicely. Is he about the same size as a Games Workshop Black Orc Goblin? Yes, he is. So in stature, these guys definitely stand out as being size 2, strength 2. It's very obvious, even with the catchers. Now the catchers are slighter, but they are to scale in a way that works brilliantly. So you can tell that they're strength 3, but they actually look like they're armor 8+. They look a bit more vulnerable, which is perfect. So month 1 was an absolute slobber knocker and a huge win. Month 2 is at least 10% better. To be fair, I think this model alone would have won me over. But the fact that you get 2 of them, you get the rest of the team in there as well, and I am so excited to see what they do when they do their 3rd month, because I mean, star players. This is obviously an an Imperial Nobility team. You got 4 blockers, 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 2 catchers, a bunch of linemen, some halflings, and 2 big guys to choose from. So you got your Nobility core, you've got your human team core, you've got OWA with the exception of dwarves. That's the interesting thing. So you've got the halflings there so that you can use this as a full human team. But you've also got, yeah, there's a lot of potential. You could run this as Amazons as well because you've got the kind of blocker blitzer mix. I think this is a very brilliant execution and probably my favorite team from Punga in a while. I think they've absolutely crushed it. I'm super impressed, and I'm going to have to paint this up and use it on the channel. So we talked about the Cathay team from Secret League. This is good to go for that as well. So you've got humans, you've got nobility without having to do anything else. Punga, I want 2 things from you if you're listening. Please, 1, flesh this out so it can be OWA as well. Let's have some dwarves in this Cathay style. Cathay and dwarves, come on. That should be another release for you. Cathay and dwarves to make this an OWA team. And then, oh yes, I'd love an STL Cathay army, please, in this style, because 12 out of 10. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Let me know what you think, and we'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy printing.